The goal for the Indiana Fever should be championships, plural, in the Caitlin Clark era. They should be looking at being a dynasty. You can never guarantee a championship win. Nothing you do with the roster is going to promise that, right? You don't work results backwards, but you put yourself in a position to thrive and succeed year after year. And the Fever are going all in on next year, as they've shown with this free agency flex. Not only did they re-sign Kelsey Mitchell, which they stated was their number one priority, keeping together that core of Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston, but they add Natasha Howard, who fills that void at power forward. They ship out Melissa Smith, who was a borderline liability for the team. They bring in Sophie Cunningham, who's another tough player and a shooter, and then they land DeWanna Bonner. Bonner gives them length on the perimeter, gives them a proven scorer, another vet. They brought in experience, they brought in toughness and tenacity, and now they can beat you from every position offensively while bolstering the defense. The Indiana Fever are dead serious going into Caitlin Clark's second season. But what a move in getting DeWanna Bonner. I mean, that was the kind of move I had suspicions of it, right? Like, I thought, okay, this can go down. This can happen. This is not, something that is necessarily locked in. But the fact that she hadn't gone to the Mercury after Alyssa Thomas had gone to the Mercury, obviously Kalia Copper in there, and there'd be some minutes competition. Rebecca Lobo had mentioned Dewana Bonner. I don't know if that was just from a fit standpoint or if she had some degree of information. But regardless, Bonner is a seamless fit with the Fever. Obviously, she played for Stephanie White in Connecticut, so there's a relationship there, and that probably helped in the recruiting process for Bonner, of course, to come to Indiana. So you have that factor as well. But just on paper now, when you look at the Fever, just on paper, when you look at the Fever, the starting five is probably going to be Clark, Mitchell, Bonner, Howard, Boston is my guess. That gives you a ton of size, versatility, scoring at every spot. All 5 spots can score. And then off the bench, you're bringing in Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham. Energy, shooting off the bench. I don't know if that's exactly how it will work out, but that is certainly my best guess at moves. And so just on paper, the Fever are as good as any team in the league. I mean, you have the Liberty, you have the Lynx, and I guess you have the Aces, but the Fever are in that group. And given that they have Clark as the engine, and that Clark and Mitchell score unlike any other backcourt, and they've bolstered the defense and toughness, and they've got enforcers now. They were lacking that last year. They were lacking a little bit of back off. They've got that now with all everybody they brought in. Bonner has that. Howard has that. Cunningham has that. So there's a degree of toughness coming into Indiana that was not present before. They had talent and skill. Now they're size, defense, and scoring, and scoring. And you know what completely and utterly killed and obliterated is the notion that players don't wanna come to the Fever. Players don't wanna come to the Fever. We've seen that thrown around. The fans and, well, you have to deal with what comes along with Caitlin Clark. Yeah, you have to deal with what comes along with Caitlin Clark, which means thriving and competing for championships every single season. Not to mention sold out arenas everywhere you go, whether you're home or road, it's sold out. Fans are cheering for you. More than you've ever received in your career. More all-star votes than you've ever received in your career. More jersey sales, I'm sure, than you've ever received in your career. The things that come along with playing with Caitlin Clark. And again, the internet is not real life. Now, I understand Alyssa Thomas, who is Bonner's fiance, made the comments about Fever fans. So there was a degree of like, okay, maybe there's something there. I think Thomas was reacting too much to what was said online, perhaps, but regardless, I get that. But we know Bonner has the connection to coach Stephanie White. We know Bonner is a proven winner, and we know Bonner is a pro. So she's able to, realize what is best for her career, right? And so many of those narratives are gonna be dead going into next season. The things that are tried to be perpetuated constantly by the crybaby bullies who are probably apoplectic that Bonner decided to choose the Fever. I mean, it's a one-year deal, by the way, and so many of these moving parts could continue to move in the WNBA going forward because of the new CBA, and almost nobody signed long-term deals. So, how long this exact core is together remains to be seen. But again, when you start with the core that the Fever had, Clark, Austin, Mitchell, the rest is so much easier, and you saw it. And they got a front office that's serious now, and a coach that's serious now, and a serious roster. He's basically an all-star at every position. Is a former all-star, at worst, at every position, and Caitlin's gonna win MVP. I'm pretty sure of it. I mean, her and Collier, I think it'll be a two-person race, and Nafisa is tremendous. But if I had to bet, I'm betting on Caitlin Clark, especially with the personnel that she now has. I mean, how do you guard that? How do you guard that? Considering it at all times, you can flank Clark with people that can score from every spot on the floor, and you have options to make it look different. Like, again, when you mix it up with Hull, Cunningham, different look than it will be with Bonner and Howard per se. You can go small and shift Cunningham to the 4 for a minute. Go real small. You can go real big, obviously, with that starting lineup that I threw out there. And the Fever are, of course, going real big with the moves that they're making here in WNBA free agency. They're flexing because they're a premier destination. They are the league's most popular team with the league's most popular player in a franchise that is investing in the team and the facilities and everything else. So, I mean, Clark used the word "duh," right? It's a duh for it to be an appealing situation. Total duh. And now that I'm assuming their free agency dust has settled, the Fever go from being the league's most popular team, and they're still the league's most popular team, but now they very, very well could be the league's best team as well from this point going forward into the, you know, future for a bit here.